Welcome to 20 Metre Restart Agree to Disagree Rugby League podcast. I'm your host Ra, and on today's show, we talk about which team impressed the boys the most in round 5, Broncos and Cowboys, where is it going wrong? Sam Burgess gets a 2-match ban, Cam Smith, for the first time in his career, gets 10 minutes off, and our tips for round 5. Hoons, Nick, are you ready? Let's get it on. And welcome back, guys, to another episode of 20 Metre Restart Agree to Disagree Rugby League podcast. I'm Ra, alongside Nick and Hoons. What's up, boys?
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, scores from last weekend, round 4. Cowboys lost to the Panthers at home, 14-33. Rabbitohs defeated the Bulldogs, 20-16. Sharks defeated the Storm, 14-4. Roosters lost to the Warriors in an upset game, 6-30. Seagulls defeated the Raiders, 32-16. Dragons easily beat the Knights, 30-12. Broncos, another upset, lost to the Titans, 14-26. And Tigers defeated the Eels, 30-20. All right, which team impressed you the most? Nick?
Definitely the Warriors this week. They came to Sydney against a developing Roosters squad. You know, Kiri and Cronk really came together last week, I thought. So I saw the Roosters as an easy tip there, but I was proven wrong. The forwards really showed up, and geez, Blake Green just took control of the entire match. He was just all over the Roosters, had their number at every turn, and just dominated the offense for the Warriors. So definitely the Warriors team that impressed me the most.
Hoons?
Yeah, we had some bright games or some great games in the weekend, but I definitely agree. The Warriors, how can you pass the Warriors? They were underdogs, especially when Sean went down, and then Mason Lino stepped in, and he was terrific as well. Blake Green has just been outstanding for the last 4 weeks. That guy has just proven that maybe it's not Sean's team, maybe it's Green's team now. He's just taken it with two hands over there in New Zealand. And I'm impressed with the Warriors. I think that there was one aspect, like the defense. The goal line defense was amazing. Working hard for each other. I loved it when Roger, a penalty was given to the Roosters, and Roger walked up to the ref and said, "We're working hard, sir. We're working hard." And that's the mentality that the Warriors have never had in their history. They would crack too easily, but that defense, and then to even make matters worse for the Roosters, one defensive set the Warriors did, they got the ball back, and then Blake Green, with his composure, kicked them 40-20 and turned the game around again. And the Warriors just were relentless.
I agree, boys. Agree. Warriors fans, are you happy with that? They were impressed with your team the most. Boys, let's turn to your teams. They're not starting the season well. And let's start with the Cowboys. Hoons, what is happening with the Cowboys? Are they just feeling the pressure as one of the comp's favourites to win it?
No, I think it's something deeper. It seems to me that they're playing like the old Cowboys, where they always start off slow. Eventually, they'll find their feet and start just killing it in the NRL. But I've been highly disappointed. We were at home against the Panthers on Thursday, and we lost terribly. You know, there was no composure. Our forwards do not seem like they're clicking into gear. I don't understand why Ethan Lowe's on the bench for Cohen Hess. I think Cohen Hess is better utilised on the bench, on the interchange, so he can be an impact player. And that's what he's good at. Like, coming on for a 20-minute, 30-minute stint, giving us some impact off the bench. Now we've lost that, especially with Jordan McLean going down with injury. You know, it's so annoying. It's so upsetting to watch that. I don't know what's going on with the structure. The attack looks horrible, too predictable. Defences are reading the plays too easily. They just follow where Thurston goes. I think that maybe they need to switch it up. Bring in Lachlan Coote. I don't understand why he's not in the side, unless if he's injured. Lachlan Coote just gives us a different aspect on attack. People have told me Ben Hampton has been great. No. I think that he's been solid but not great. You know, he doesn't give a spark on attack like Lachlan Coote can provide. And Lachlan Coote is such a great positional fullback. You know what, Ra? I'm just highly, highly disappointed.
I think with the Cowboys, I read Darren Lockyer's article the other day in the Korean Mail, and he referenced his 2005 Origin series, where it was Thurston's debut series, and him and Thurston never really had the talk, as to say, about who was going to lead and organise and who was going to be more of a danger on the ball, the attack man, the threatening man, the running man. So I see the Cowboys at that state now, where the Michael Morgan carried the team to the grand final last year. He was phenomenal. He led the back line. He was so threatening. And, you know, JT before that has done a similar thing. He's led them to the grand final. He's been so great in attack. But now that, you know, Morgan's got the confidence from last year and JT's slotted back into the side, I don't think they're working with each other as well. I don't think one of them's leading and one of them's being attacking. I think I can't tell if they're both trying to lead or they're both trying to attack, but they're definitely not working together very well. And I think that's why their attack looks so weak. And I completely agree with Darren Lockyer's point there. Because Darren Lockyer said, you know, that's probably why we lost the 2005 Origin series. It was because him and Thurston just weren't playing with each other very well. And I can see that in the Cowboys' attack right now. I completely agree with his point. So,
All right. And now on to the Broncos. Nick, how much does it grate you to see their performance, against the Titans at Suncorp, considering the Titans lost by 40? How much does it grate you for them losing like that?
It is rough. It's very rough. I knew they were always going to be a little bit lethargic coming off such a heavy game against the Tigers the week before. But then again, you know, every other team plays tough week in, week out, so you can't really pin that down to fatigue. I think it was really poor from the Broncos forward pack particularly. I'd like to criticise there. I mean, there were sets they were making 20, 30 metres, which is just, it's atrocious. And how are your halves supposed to do any damage when the defence isn't even on the back foot? You know, what's Cody and Milford going to do there? So I completely disappointed with the side, especially the forward pack. Yeah, there were errors here and there, Pearson dropping the ball right in front of the try line, for example, but no, I really do pin that on the forwards. They were really disappointing. They were completely dominated by the Titans, and they just left the rest of the team with absolutely nothing to work with.
Yeah, my perspective on the Broncos is this, man. I think they're lucky that they've even won 2 games. To be honest, there was a try bombed by Scott Bolton running into the post in week 2 against the Cowboys.
Or was it a try saved by Pangai Jr.?
It wasn't a try save. We already know that. We established that. And then they controversially won against the Tigers with a penalty kick. So it could be easily as 0-4 start for the Bronx, but you know, at least they're coming up with 2 victories. But I totally agree. They were out-muscled by the Titans. Titans had a point to prove. Once I seen that starting lineup for the Titans, especially in their forward pack, Jared Wallace back. He was back against the Dragons, but he was a bit embarrassed by what happened against the Dragons. Ryan James, his front row partner, Nathan Peets, Kevin Proctor was there. You know, and you look at that side, and to be fair, you know, Will Matthews as well, sorry, and Jai Arrow. And those guys that used to play for the Broncos have actually come out and, you know, proved a point. Like Jai Arrow, who was phenomenal in defence. But it was that first tackle that I saw that really set the standard for the Titans. And I don't know what Wayne Bennett's going to do, because I'm not too sure if the Broncos are a big threat in the NRL this year. But, you know, Cowboys are not doing so great either.
Yeah, well, boys, let's switch it around and thoughts on Sam Burgess. 2-match ban. Does it fit the crime, Nick?
It's very, very 50-50, this decision. You're either really for it or really against it. Personally, to me, it looks like bracing. To me, I think the fact is it's 2 weeks is really, really unfair on Sam. You know, you're allowed to brace. You know, there was no maliciousness to what Sam did. It's his ball carrying arm, and it's consistently his ball carrying arm. It's not like he's, you know, suddenly changed to carrying the ball in his right arm. He did that all game, and he proved that. And I can't remember exactly what he said in his interview in the judiciary hearing, but he did say something along the lines of, you know, I literally couldn't have done anything else there. Like I'm carrying the ball in that arm. I didn't move it to hurt Josh. It was Josh, yeah, and he just got Josh in a bad spot. In my opinion, it was completely Josh's fault. He has gone for a horrible tackle. Why would someone as short as Josh Morris go for a bear hug tackle on someone the size of Sam Burgess? Especially coming at the angle he was coming on. Like he had zero reason to do that, other than, you know, milking a penalty. So in my opinion, no, I don't think it's a fair banning at all.
I just be completely honest. I didn't really get to see that part. So, but by the looks of things, that it was a 50-50 call. But I think that I think it's actually a huge loss to the Rabbits, especially their leader in the forward pack, looking towards the next game. So whether if it was right or not, you know, I feel sorry for the Rabbitohs because they just lost one of their champion players. So that's what I'm just going to say about it.
I think if you compare it to Jason Tamalolo's big hit up on, is it Isaiah Yao or Isaac Yao from the Panthers, the second rower? Tamalolo, you know, it's against the Panthers, Thursday night, straight after halftime. The first hit up after halftime. And Tamalolo runs up, braces, big hit. And Yo goes down, off for a HIA, and I don't even think he's playing this week because it was such a big hit. You know, it was such a good hit. Tamalolo's braced himself. And if you compare the two, they're really not that different. Yet we're complimenting Tamalolo and punishing Burgess. So I really don't see the justice in that.
That was probably one of the highlights, Nick, of the Cowboys-Panthers game from a Cowboys perspective.
And wasn't it a hit? How good was that?
That was awesome. I got to admit, that first hit up, I was like, yeah, we're in the game. What's up? And then, no, we're not.
Rabbitohs fans, was it a fair match banding? All right, you think about that one. Now, to Cam Smith. He got his first 10-minute spell. Hoons, did the ref make a brave decision there?
You know what? I reckon he did. You know, for a long, long time, Cameron Smith was always this lawyer. But I'm going to go back to somebody that I really respect as a referee, and his name is Bill Harrigan. And Bill said that about Cameron Smith and the way that he would handle it is that Cameron Smith will be getting a lot of splinters because he's just too much in the referee's face. But that's because the refs have allowed him to do it. Bill said that he would have gave him 10 minutes to think about it. You know, think about the next time you're going to approach the referee. And it was a brave decision in a Dawa affair over there at Shark Park. But I think that he made the right decision. You know, you can't always just get away with it. And Matt Chichin, Chicken Legs, he was brave enough to make that call and said, Cam, 10 minutes, see you later. So, yeah, brave decision, and I applaud it.
I remember we touched on consistency for the penalties last round for the podcast. And I think the referees really have cut down on back chat. You know, if you say anything back to the referee, now they'll just give you 10 metres. And Cam pushed it even further than that. He'd already given the 10 metres, and then he decided to chat back again. And so I completely agree with the referee. I think it was really, really bold decision, obviously, to send someone like Cam Smith off for the first time. But No, I completely agree with him. And, they're cutting down on back chat. And I love how that's applying to all players. They're not lenient with that at all. They're consistent with that. So, yeah, I completely agree with it. Good call.
What do you reckon? Was it a good call? A brave call? You decide. Now, straight on to our tippings. Once again, we did all right last week, but now we're straight on to round 5. Thursday, 5th of April, Raiders versus Bulldogs at GIO Stadium. And this one, I'll be going for the Bulldogs. Jack Whiten really, I think they couldn't afford that, Raiders, some distraction. They're already down and with poor form, and now a distraction on top of that with his alleged bar fight. So they definitely couldn't afford that. And the Bulldogs, they'll be wanting to bounce back after that loss. So I think the Bulldogs will actually be too strong for the Raiders. Friday, 6th of April, Sharks versus Roosters at Southern Cross Group Stadium. Nick, who do you got?
The way the Sharks played last week, I'm just going to have to go Roosters. I mean, the Sharks really dragged down the Storm, and they've done it over the past few years since they won the premiership. They've dragged down the Storm to their level. They forced discipline issues. They forced errors that Storm don't usually make just because of their play style. I don't see them with that ability over the Roosters. I really do, especially Roosters being really hungry after such a massive loss at home to the Warriors last week. Big teams especially will bounce back after a big loss like that. So I've got to go the Roosters.
Roosters for Nick. The second game on Friday, Dragons versus Rabbitohs at Jubilee Oval. Hoons, who do you got?
Surprisingly, I was actually going to go for the Rabbits. I reckon that they had champion players, but with Sam Burgess out and the Dragons on a hot streak, because I actually truly believe that with Inglis, Gagai, Burgess up front, I thought that the Rabbitohs had a shot and probably would have surprised the Dragons more. And then that English battle between Sam Burgess and James Graham up front. And I know Sam Burgess, he wouldn't want to lose to James Graham. But how can I after Sammy has been suspended? So I actually feel like Dragons too hot, too slick, Haas looking great. They're controlling the ball really well, and Gareth Wood on fire. Him and Ben Hunt, they're just both on fire, and the outside backs will do the rest. The forwards will lay the platform. Dragons for the win.
And I think it's exactly what Widdups needed over these past few years. Dragons have been, I would say, unsuccessful because they haven't had a good halfback. They haven't had anyone to do the hard work. So Widdups stuck there, similar to Sean Johnson's scenario of the past few years, where he's got to do all the work, and under that sort of pressure, he can't do it. Not many players could do it. So I think now that he's got someone like Ben Hunt in his team, you're really seeing him come out of his shell, and he is playing phenomenally. His kicks are so pinpoint. I love his in-play kicking game. Best in the tournament at the moment.
The left foot kick, Nick? And not only that, do you miss Ben Hunt? I bet you do now.
Not particularly. I think Cody and Milf are doing all right for the minute. So I'll give them a few more weeks to really prove themselves. Ben was really coming good by the time we sold him, which hurt a little bit because we've invested so much into him, and as soon as he's come good, we've sold him. But it's good to see him doing well for the Dragons and filling that more structural role. I like him now. He's doing very well.
Saturday, 7th of April, the West Tigers versus Storm in a double-header at Mount Smart Stadium. And for this one, I will be going for the Tigers. They've already made an upset in Melbourne against Storm at a milestone game. That mentally for the Storm, that would have been damaging to lose. And the Tigers are just on a high at the moment. Their defense is the best in the NRL, in my opinion, at the moment. Even though they leaked in those tries, it just looked pretty tired in that last 10 minutes. But overall, I think the Tigers will get the job done. They found some flair in the attack as well, so they should do well. The next game, At Mount Smart, Warriors versus Cowboys. Nick, who do you got?
Definitely the Warriors. There's no doubt in my mind. Cowboys have been struggling the last few weeks, and to lose at home like that to a mid-tier team like the Panthers, it pains you to see. So as much as I love the Cowboys, Warriors are just on absolute fire at the moment. The way Blake Green's playing, and until Morgan and JT sort out their issues, I don't see the Cowboys as a threat. So Warriors at home must tip for me.
Man, you know what, Nick? I'm still tipping the Cowboys. It's a tip with my heart. Man. And not to make matters worse, Sean Johnson's back, so that annoys me even more.
And Simon Mannering.
This is ridiculous. My heart says Cowboys, and I would always tip the Cowboys.
And the last game on Saturday, Knights versus Broncos at McDonald Jones Stadium. Who do you have, Hoons?
McDonald's Jones Stadium, Newcastle. I would go for the Knights in this one. I guess it's the same. I think we've just been disappointed in our sides that I think Newcastle will want to bounce back after their couple of losses. I would say like mediocre defeats where they were punished for mistakes that they can fix. Now I know Mitchell Pearce and Caden Pong is looking great at the fullback. He gives an exciting spark to the Knights, but I'm not going to discredit the Broncos. This one could be either, I reckon it's like 60-40. I just give it to the Knights 60 because they're at home. But knowing Wayne Bennett's team and his style of coaching, that they would want to come back, make a strong statement, especially that forward pack like Nick was talking about. But I can see the Knights matching that, that aggression, that hunger to win another game. And yeah, Knights for the victory, rah!
Look, I'm going for the Broncos there. I once again tip with my heart, but I haven't seen the Knights as too much of a threat. I mean, they looked really good against the Raiders. I thought their attack, had a bit of flair to it. It looked really strong, and they only won by 2 points still. And I think they last few games. I mean, they lost to the Roosters. They got hammered by the Roosters. They just beat Manly in a golden point at the start of the season. I don't see them as threatening enough to beat the Broncos just yet. I think, especially after an upset loss. As I said before, big teams always bounce back after upsets, always. So I have to go Broncos.
Sunday, 8th of April, Titans versus Seagulls at the Marley Brown Oval. Nick, who's your pick?
I'm gonna go Titans. I think they'll have a newfound confidence from that victory. And I appreciate that it was from just poor Broncos performance as opposed to Titans being a dominant force. But I really see that victory as a really positive thing for that side. I really see them coming out with a much better attitude and a much stronger sort of team, I'd see. So probably not a popular tip there, but I do see the Titans coming out on top.
And the last game of the round on Sunday, Eels versus Panthers, ANZ Stadium. Hoons, who do you have?
Week 5, so it's week 5. It's going to be 0-5. The Eels are definitely losing this game. I feel like what James Maloney provided against the Cowboys was amazing. He controlled that game superbly well. General kick plays. But he's always been a threatening ball runner. But his forwards are backing him up. That's what's happening. James Fisher-Harris just nailed Morgan and Thurston nearly all night. He was so awesome. He was that great. He was superb. He was off his line, trying to shut down the play. And then you look at Regan Campbell-Gillard and Trent Merrin and even Jimmy Tamo. All those guys all played well against when we said, I think week 2 or week 1 of our podcast, we were saying that the Cowboys were the most dominant forward pack, easily in the NRL. But that Panthers team, I gave them they won that round easily too. And the Panthers looked too strong, And yeah, that's my pick, Nick, because I think we're all on the same page for this one.
Well, guys, that's our tips for this week, week 5, round 5. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today, but thank you very much for listening in, and hope to see you again at 20 Meter Restart, Agree to Disagree Rugby League podcast. I'm Ra with Hoons and Nick signing off. Bye.